Just when DJI fans thought the situation in the United States could not become more complicated, the FCC has taken another step that could close the biggest remaining loophole in the market. This is no longer only about blocking future DJI products that have not received approval. The FCC is now proposing to stop the continued importation, marketing, distribution, and sale of certain products that were already authorized, involving 9 companies suspected of selling DJI-related technology under different names. That list includes companies associated with Skyrover drones, Xtra cameras, and several brands most consumers have probably never heard of. Some reports are already calling this a retroactive ban, but one important detail needs to be clear. This is still a proposal going through a public comment process, not a finalized ban that has already taken effect. But if the FCC follows through, the workaround many DJI fans were counting on may be finished. The 9 companies named include Cogito, Ficaxo, Lino Dynamics, Sky High Tech, Spatial Hover, SC NoAct, WaveGo, XAG, and Xtra. Some of those names may sound unfamiliar, but their products are not. SC NoAct and WaveGo have been associated with Skyrover drones, which many people compare directly with DJI models. Xtra, meanwhile, sells cameras that look and operate remarkably like DJI products with different branding. Its Muse resembles the Pocket 3, its action cameras closely follow DJI's Osmo Action lineup, and the upcoming Muse 2 Pro appears to be the alternative many Americans hoped would give them access to something resembling the Pocket 4P. Only a few weeks ago, the biggest issue was that these companies had received proposed fines for allegedly ignoring FCC requests for information. At that point, the FCC had not banned the products or formally concluded that the companies were acting as DJI proxies. Now the situation has moved much further. The FCC is considering restricting products that have already passed through its authorization process. And that raises an uncomfortable question. How much confidence should businesses and consumers place in an approval that can later be withdrawn? When a product receives FCC authorization, retailers stock it, creators recommend it, customers spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on it, and companies build support systems around it. Now, the FCC is effectively saying that previously authorized equipment could later lose access to the market if the agency concludes that it contains technology connected to an entity on the covered list. The FCC may have the legal authority to do that, but from a consumer perspective, where exactly is the line? Is the problem the name printed on the device, the company behind it, the components inside it, the software running on it, or any connection to DJI somewhere in the supply chain? This is also why calling everything a simple DJI clone does not fully explain the issue. The FCC is not only discussing similar exterior designs, it is examining allegations involving copied hardware, code, components, and technology associated with covered equipment. But the agency is also still asking for comments and evidence supporting or challenging those conclusions. So should previously approved products lose their ability to be sold based on suspected technical connections before all the evidence is publicly available? Or are the similarities already so obvious that no further explanation is needed? Xtra is probably the most confusing company on the list because it primarily sells handheld cameras, not drones. A pocket-style gimbal camera is not flying over restricted facilities or carrying a payload. It is usually filming vacations, family events, travel videos, food reviews, or YouTube content. Yes, these cameras contain wireless transmitters, connect to applications, and transfer data, which gives the FCC jurisdiction over their radio equipment. But people are understandably asking why the Xtra version could be restricted while older DJI Pocket cameras already on American shelves remain available. The legal explanation may involve different authorization dates or different regulatory classifications, but to the average consumer it still looks strange. Two extremely similar cameras may be treated completely differently because of who regulators believe is behind them. So does that mean the technology itself is dangerous, or is the real concern the company and financial network connected to it? Current owners would not suddenly become criminals. The proposal says people who already own affected products would still be allowed to use them. Their drones would not automatically become illegal to fly, and their cameras would not be remotely disabled simply because a company was restricted. The action is aimed at future importation and marketing rather than forcing consumers to surrender products they already purchased. But that only answers part of the problem. What happens when the battery wears out? What happens if someone crashes a drone and needs a replacement? What happens to extended warranties, spare propellers, charging hubs, controllers, repair parts, firmware updates, applications, and cloud services? A consumer may retain the legal right to use the device, but that right becomes less useful if the ecosystem around it slowly disappears. These practical concerns appeared repeatedly in the comments. People are not only asking whether they should buy a Skyrover X1 before the rules change. They are asking whether batteries will still be available in 2 years, whether warranty coverage will still mean anything, whether the mobile application will continue functioning, and whether software updates could suddenly end. Those are reasonable questions because modern drones are not simple standalone products. They depend on controllers, batteries, applications, firmware, servers, activation systems, and long-term compatibility. You may legally own the drone for years, but without support, ownership becomes a countdown. The timing is especially painful for people waiting for the Xtra Muse 2 Pro. Many Americans had already accepted that the official DJI Pocket 4P might not arrive through normal retail channels. Xtra looked like the solution. The Muse 2 Pro was expected to offer a 1-inch main sensor, a telephoto camera, a 3-axis gimbal, professional color profiles, and several design changes that some creators actually preferred, including a more flexible screen, an integrated grip, a built-in mounting thread, and a side-mounted charging port. Now its US future is surrounded by uncertainty. Even if Xtra finishes the camera, will retailers risk stocking it? Will customers risk pre-ordering it? Will creators invest time reviewing a product that could soon lose access to the market? The camera may still exist, but availability, support, and long-term confidence are now far less certain. The same uncertainty surrounds Skyrover. Its drones became popular because they offered DJI-like performance, familiar controls, competitive pricing, and another option at a time when people feared losing access to newer DJI models. Some consumers viewed Skyrover as a genuine alternative. Others believed it was clearly DJI technology entering through another door. Regardless of which interpretation is correct, the products gave buyers another choice. If that route is closed, what replaces it? People keep hearing that restrictions will encourage domestic competition, but where is the comparable American consumer drone? Where is the affordable alternative offering DJI-level obstacle avoidance, camera quality, stabilization, range, battery life, software, and ease of use in one complete package? Restricting a competitor may create an opportunity for domestic manufacturers, but it does not automatically create a good product. Without a realistic replacement, the immediate result is fewer choices and potentially higher prices. Some viewers believe DJI and these related companies attracted the scrutiny themselves. The products were extremely similar, the connections were openly discussed, and creators repeatedly described Skyrover and Xtra as DJI products under different names. One commenter even suggested that videos explaining the loophole helped regulators identify it. But is blaming creators reasonable? Regulators were likely already watching these companies, and a business strategy that only works while nobody publicly discusses it was probably never secure in the first place. The bigger question is why the action appears so narrowly focused. Phones, routers, security cameras, robot vacuums, smart speakers, webcams, dash cams, and wearable devices also contain cameras, microphones, wireless radios, location data, or cloud connectivity. Some of those products collect far more personal information than a pocket camera. So what makes these particular brands uniquely dangerous? There may be intelligence or technical evidence that cannot be released publicly, but that creates a trust problem. Consumers are being asked to accept restrictions affecting their businesses, hobbies, and purchasing choices without being shown enough information to independently evaluate the claims. Should the government have to publicly demonstrate that a particular device presents a real risk before removing it from sale, or is a strong connection to a covered manufacturer enough? It is also important not to exaggerate what has happened. This is still a proposal and there is a public comment process. It does not mean every affected product will definitely disappear on a confirmed date, and it certainly does not mean every existing DJI drone will suddenly become illegal. So I would be cautious with anyone telling viewers to panic buy immediately or claiming that all DJI-related products are about to be banned. Still, the overall direction is hard to ignore. First, newer DJI products faced authorization barriers. Then companies suspected of selling similar technology under different names received information requests and proposed fines. Now the FCC is considering reaching backwards and restricting previously authorized equipment from 9 companies. The loophole is not merely getting smaller, it may be closing completely. So now I want your honest opinion. Is this a reasonable attempt to stop companies from bypassing restrictions through new names and new branding? Or is it an example of regulators removing consumer choice without providing enough public evidence or a competitive replacement? Would you still buy a Skyrover drone or an Xtra camera today, knowing that batteries, repairs, applications, and warranty support could become uncertain? And where do you think this ends? With a narrow restriction on a handful of alleged DJI-linked companies, or with foreign consumer drones gradually disappearing from the American market altogether?